Hello and welcome to another edition of the OCVarsity Gridiron Show. I'm your host, Jonathan Khamis, being joined by Steve Fryer and Dan Albano. We are talking about Week 5 in Orange County football, and we're going to get right into it with our game of the week, fellas. It will be Corona Del Mar visiting Edison Friday night. Last season, CDM smashed Edison 42-7, but hey, Garbers ain't walking through that door anymore. So we know that Edison hasn't beaten CDM since the Sea Kings entered the Sunset League, losing twice in a row. Steve, I'll go to you first, and we'll talk about the Edison Chargers. They had a big victory last week. Of course, they won the bell game against Fountain Valley. Bulls had 2 passing touchdowns. Is this the year that Edison beats CDM? I know they've had them on their calendar.
Yeah, I would think so. Edison looks like the superior team of the two right now, and Edison, coming off that 40-0 win over Fountain Valley in their great Battle of the Bell gamer. So played really well. Broyles was very efficient, 7 of 10 passing, and they had another quarterback play Harkin played too, and he threw the ball pretty well. Really a great guy that, Dan, you and I got to think about. We're looking at the All-Orange County team is Nico Brown, the receiver for Edison, who had another big game with 3 catches for 89 yards and a touchdown. Didn't play an awful lot because it was such a blowout, but, I like Edison to take this game.
All right, Dan, we'll go to you and talk a little CDM, Sea Kings football. What did they do last week? Well, they beat Newport Harbor. Was this a surprising score to you, Dan? They beat them 10-7.
Pretty surprising in some regards. I mean, ranking-wise, it's surprising because we have, Corona Del Mar's ranked in the top 10 of Orange County. But Newport Harbor is a program on the rise, and it is a rivalry game. So a win in the win, any kind of win in a rivalry game is a good thing. So CDM, they don't want to lose that game to Newport, but Newport is maybe closing the gap. It's such a close score because you have to look at what did Edison do against Newport Harbor. They won 47-14, so that's not a good common opponent. But I think Corona Del Mar has some things going into this game. I think Razor is coming along. He's a talented young sophomore quarterback, but he's a first-year starter and inexperienced. I don't think CDM has got the ground attack going just the way they want to yet. They didn't really run loose against Los Alamitos. They didn't really run loose on the ground against Newport Harbor, and they are talented up front. So I think that's continues to be an effort for CDM to get better. And the guy I think that, Steve talked about, Nico Brown, and made some great points. CDM's got a kid, Tommy Griffin, who is outstanding, and a two-way player as well. Very good receiver and defensive back. Tommy's going to have to play well for CDM to be competitive in this game, and that's not a problem for Tommy because he's lights out defender, and he can do a great job.
Okay, guys, I don't know if you heard that in the background. Oh, there's a crash on the Freeway League. I'm having fun on Zoom, guys. I'm sorry, I'm having fun on Zoom. So we're talking Freeway League football now, and it will be for the Fullerton City Championship. That's what they call it. Sunny Hills, Troy, Fullerton, all in the city of Fullerton, playing for the city title. So it will be 3-1, 18 ranked Fullerton visiting number 20 ranked Sunny Hills, who is 4-0. Last season, Sunny beat Fullerton 56-21. Steve, do you think that Sunny Hills saw the rankings this week and saw Fullerton ahead of them a couple of spots? And do you think they'd use that as momentum? Old Coach Pete Karavitas putting up that one on the blackboard. What do you think?
I believe that our rankings have prepared more pregame speeches than anything out there. And if I was a coach, I'd certainly use that as a fuel as well. Fullerton, you're talking about these teams in the freeway and who's driving or whatever. La Habra is in the diamond lane, and they've already passed everybody, okay? But if you take a look, Fullerton took La Habra into overtime. A super impressive player for Fullerton is their quarterback, Dylan Neal. Now, he played really well in the loss to La Habra. Was 11 of 20, pretty efficient against a really good defenser like the Highlanders have. And he's also their place kicker and punter. This guy like just about does it all. But, if I'm looking to who's going to win this game, it's kind of a coin toss game for me. But I kind of like Fullerton in this game right now because the way they really stood up and played really well against La Habra, taking them to overtime. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, Dylan Neal was also super impressive in their last game defeating Troy. He had 7 total touchdowns, just an amazing night for him, and throwing to 5 different seniors. So that was pretty cool to see. Dan, let's talk Sunny. They beat Sonora 55-7. They only passed the ball 7 times, but my goodness, you don't need to when you have just that 3-headed monster that they have at the running back position, including 3 touchdowns from David Harris, 2 by Brandon Roberts. The Lancers average 55 points per game, Dan. And hey, with that Fullerton and La Habra score being so close, if Sunny could get by Fullerton, you never know what could happen in that Sunny La Habra game. But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself because Fullerton's really, really good. But Dan, tell us about Sunny.
Yeah, I think Sunny Hills definitely looks at this as a big opportunity for him and highly motivated, because if they can win this one, then they get a chance to play for the league championship against La Habra, which is the dominant, game. And, so I don't, the Lancers definitely can't overlook an improved Fullerton team. So, but I think with the rankings, everything that Fryer just said, the Lancers are going to be fired up, and yeah, they love to pound the rock. Last week, 27 carries for 275 yards. They rushed for 7 touchdowns, and that trio that you mentioned, Jonathan, Vincent Silva, Harris, Roberts, they've already rushed, combined for almost 1,200 yards and 22 touchdowns. They love to run the ball, but they've been playing lights out defense too. I really like a couple of their linebackers. Of course, Carson Irons committed to Princeton. Kevin and Nick Wild is coming up in the secondary. So they've been playing some great defense. But this is going to be, I think it's going to be a really good game. Rankings wise, Sunny Hill's got to play really well. And, to beat Fullerton, to set up that game and get a chance to, play against the league juggernaut.
Dan, who's your pick? Steve picked Fullerton. Who you got?
I'm picking Sunny Hills.
Okay. All right. I think it's going to be probably the game of the night. I mean, I think it's going to be an awesome game. Sunny has limited their last 3 opponents to 7 per game, and Fullerton's coming in red hot. All right, guys, we're going to do a little bit different this week. We are going to have Dan preview one game and Steve preview another game. And Steve is going to preview Cypress versus Pacifica, a little Empire League action. Steve, what do you got for this one?
Well, this matchup of pretty good quarterbacks right there. I tell you what, Dylan Eldridge is doing very well for Cypress. He's got a great receiver named Matthew Morrell, who's also a dynamite baseball player as well. And then over there on the other side for Pacifica, quarterback sophomore Darius Cowens is throwing the ball really well. Got a really good receiver, Jamal Fisher. This could be a pretty high-scoring game, 35-34, 45-44, something like that. I like the way Cypress is playing right now. They look like the class of the league, so I would go with Cypress in this game.
All right, and finally, Dan, we'll go to you for a Trinity League matchup this week, and it will involve Mater Dei and Santa Margarita. Of course, the Monarchs coming off a big-time win against Servite. That was a physical game with more flags than you can count, but it was a physical and at times fun game to watch. Dan, what do you take from this one? Will the Eagles soar to a victory? See what I did there, Dan?
I don't know if they're going to win, but I think they're going to play well, and I think this game is, even more intriguing now because you have Santa Margarita essentially coming off the bye because they didn't play last week against Orange Lutheran. Orange Lutheran, as Fryer reported, had the positive COVID test. So, that gives Santa Margarita more time to prepare, get healthy, and really play well at the Santa Ana Stadium where they've already played. And don't forget about Santa Margarita was up 20-14 in the first half against Bosco, and then of course they did get the wheels eventually fell off quite a bit against a great Bosco team, and they lost 65-28. But there's all kinds of matchups in this game that I think are super intriguing. So you got Colt Fulton coming in with some talented receivers for a Mater Dei secondary that's looking to play cleaner. And if they want to clean it up and show that they've made improvements in 1 week after, struggling at times to play clean against Servite, hey, go try to do that against Santa Margarita, Colt Fulton, and some great receivers. And then, Mater Dei's got a lot of things to work on. I think that they're going to really test, Santa Margarita. Can Mater Dei get that ground game going a little bit more? We saw Yets go to the house from 77 yards. So can Mater Dei run the ball better? Can they play cleaner? What kind of momentum can Santa Margarita generate as they look to finish the season strong? I still think the Eagles are running underrated, and they're primed to show something against Mater Dei, and they're primed to try to close out the year and upset Servite. And they're off the bye. I think Mater Dei played a physical game, but they have good depth. They have a key injury. I looked at D-line. Fryer also reported about Tyler. They're real good defensive lineman who's got an injury, but Mater Dei's got some depth. But I think that's a sneaky good game this week on Friday. And I'm interested to see, where those teams trend after this week.
You know what won't be a sneaky good game next week? Mater Dei Bosco. We'll be all over that one. That's going to be, usually is the game of the year.
I heard they have a pretty good rivalry or something like that, that maybe they played for some championships before?
Little bit. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to your guys' takes on that one next week. We'll be all over that one. But until then, keep it locked onto the OCVarsity, where you can read Fryer's columns and Dan Albano's articles and the rankings and see photos and some of my videos. I mean, it's just really a one-stop shop, is it not, Steve?
It is. It's just a cornucopia of high school football and high school sports brilliance.
Cornucopia. We learned that word in Cal State Fullerton, didn't we?
I learned at my different stints I spent over there. Yes.
Sesame Street. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see everyone next week for our final show of this weird 2020-21 season. And we're looking forward to seeing everyone at the games. See ya.